I'm joined with two-time welterweight champ, one of my favorite fighters, Mr. Showtime, Shawn Porter. Thanks for coming on, my man. You always came to fight, and we're going to unpack that in a moment. But let me go first with this. Best dressed boxer and athlete in the world, undisputed, Mr. Shawn Porter.
My style's different. I am not going to never say never, but I don't wear name brand clothing. I'm not all about the Louis Vuitton and the list goes on. But what I am about is wearing a nice suit that definitely shows my character and and the figure that I got for it. You know. So, but no, I enjoy it. All about a good suit. You know what I mean? I know a nice suit when I see one. That's for sure.
Well, you know what? Speaking about suits, me and my wife were talking about this. Your tie game is second to none. Do you do your own ties? Because I can't tie a tie to save my life.
And this is a true story. I learned how to tie a tie in 8th grade. We had to wear nice shirt and tie on game day, basketball season. When I was in 8th grade, is when I started playing basketball, and we had to wear a shirt and tie. And he gave a tutorial on how to tie a tie in 8th grade. And so I was paying attention, but by the time I had gotten home, I couldn't remember exactly what he had showed. And so it's like it was, and I can't remember his name, but it was my grade teacher's way, along with what I always say, the Porter way, and it's become this big, thick knot that everyone is envious of, and because of that, I don't show anybody how to do that bow.
We were talking about this at the football game the other day. Like, have you ever thought about opening up your own clothing line? Because our boy BC Brian Campbell would be your biggest customer and the first one in line.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if he would be my biggest customer, but I can't see him buying a Porterway suit. And we're working on the line right now. I would say we probably will launch in the fall. Is what we're looking at doing. We had some plans on launching this summer, but we may be a little behind schedule at this point. But the main objective is to give people a taste of how I dress and the way I dress being accessible to them. I think a lot of people think that I'm sure they think my suits are very expensive. They can get pricey, but what our plan is to make sure that everybody can dress the Porter way, and make it affordable for everyone. So we're working on that.
That's a beautiful idea, man. All right, so let's unpack the boxing. 31-4, 1 draw, 7 KOs. You fought everyone. Like, you didn't duck anyone. That's what I'm saying. Like, my error, and it's like throwback. Like, I mean, again, the welterweight division always stacked.
Yeah.
I mean, you took on the best of the best, and your style. We're going to talk about football in a minute, but it's like you fight like a linebacker. Like, I love your style. You're so aggressive, and it's so hard for people to deal with. Like, Malinaji had a hard time with that, and everyone you fought. So, like, what got you into boxing, man? How'd you get your start in the fight game?
Sure, man. The long story short is it's always been like probably the second thing in life, right behind, or third, right behind going to church and God, and then it was school as a kid, and then after that it was boxing. Believe it or not, I had my first sparring session when I was about 4 years old. I was before I had turned 5. I had my first sparring session, and I mean, literally, that's all she wrote. I've been boxing my entire life, and so You know, I think it's very funny when people or when people wouldn't expect me to do some of the things that I did in the sport and perform against some of the people that I performed against the way that I did. My experience, literally, bar none, in the welterweight division, everyone that I had fought in the welterweight division, either I had more experience with them, getting in the ring with them, or I had more, or the experience that we had mutually was nobody could you know my nobody could outdo me in terms of the experience getting in the ring and then the experience after the ring, you know. So for instance, take Keith Thurman. We fought in 2016, and I think before he had or after he had fought Danny Garcia in 2017, I probably had 7 matches before he had another match, you know. Errol Spence Jr. Right after Errol Spence, I had two more matches right after I fought Errol Spence. It took Errol like 2 years to get back in the ring. He had accidents and things of that nature, which prevented him from getting in the ring. But I mean, just that alone, I mean, I think my experience really speaks for itself from the amateur system, starting at 8 years old until I was 21, and then the pro ranks from 21 on, you know, until I retired just last year.
If there was any one fighter you could face nowadays, you know, I know you're retired, rightfully so, and you've had a great career. I got a 2-part question here.
Yeah.
One, in the modern time, who would you want to face and why?
I'm on record for saying this too, man. I really thought I admired Tim Bradley, and
Yes.
at one point in time, I thought that there was no better fight for me, no more competitive fight for me in the sport of boxing than Timothy Bradley. Obviously, that fight never happened, but I think if there was any fight I would have wanted to have had before retiring, it probably is Timothy Bradley.
I agree with you. That's why I asked the question. I had a feeling I was going to get that answer. How about from yesteryear? Any welterweight from back in the day, who would you like to fight?
Yeah, I think that one it might be a little bit more current as well, but maybe Manny Pacquiao. I think that is. I think Tim was the most competitive fight I probably could have been in ever as a fighter. At one point in time, when Tim and I both you know, in our primes, would have been an amazing fight. And I think a very entertaining fight would have been myself and Manny Pacquiao. I think Manny and I, being who we are in terms of our athleticism, our ability to both box and pressure fight, would have just been an amazing fight for fight fans, and he and I both.
You know, moving forward past the boxing, well, it still has to relate to it. The commentating.
We can go wherever you want to go. We can go wherever you want to go.
I tell you what, the commentating.
We'll go to commentary, then back to boxing.
How did you get to that? Like, I mean, you're so good at it. You're a natural.
Tell you what, man. I actually got my first chance to do live commentary on Spike TV in 2015. Obviously, being connected to PBC gave me the big opportunity that I've gotten with Fox. But when I had my first opportunity I went back to my room that night and I said, man, I love it. I can't wait to just do this and nothing else. And, you know, I think that's really my passion to do commentary. And also, I think the savviness that I have in terms of understanding what I need to do to prepare for a night of commentary. I think that's what's gotten me to the level that I'm on now, doing commentary. But I do, man. I think that is something that I've always wanted to do, literally, going back to being a teenager. And I knew that once I got my shot, where do you get a load of me? You know, I think that there's a lot of other really good commentators out there, but I definitely compete.
Yes,
the same way I would in boxing is how I compete. on the mic on fight night. So I make the best of it, man. I really do enjoy it, and I'm always looking forward to another opportunity to go out there and do some talking that everybody really likes to hear. You know.
You feel that energy when you commentate. Like, you do a great job. The people that surround you, like I mentioned BC before, when you were doing the Ring City, and obviously what you do for
I tell
Fox.
you what, that it's funny. It's funny that you speak about the energy because I don't watch myself or listen to myself after a night of commentary. I'm just kind of like I grade myself and I correct myself in the moment, and I just try to remember those moments where something went right or wrong, and I try to make it better the next time I go out. But I ended up listening to myself and watching myself commentate Andy Ruiz versus Chris Areola, and the energy that I was giving during that night, I was listening to myself like damn, like that's a lot of energy. And I really I couldn't believe that I was doing it. It's just one of those things I get caught up in the moment of being both a fan and an analyst. And I think that it really goes over well with fight fans and it gets them more connected to what's going on in the ring. I don't tell myself to do it. It just happens, man. And I think everybody really appreciates it.
Yeah, for me, it's like when I watch a fight and I have friends over the house or watch it with my wife, I got her into it. To a certain degree, my daughter, 13, she gets into it. Certain fighters, obviously. But whenever I watch baseball, football, or boxing, I lose my mind. Like, I get so involved, so invested. And then people were like, you ever think about commentating? I'm like, I'd lose my mind. Are you kidding me? Like, I would not be able to, I've done ringside reporting for Press Row, for various websites and stuff like that. But it's really hard to contain yourself, man, right? When it gets really exciting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because I think if you're really good at it, you can be a fan, but also remember that you're on the job as well,
Exactly. You got to be professional, right?
Yeah.
The one thing I loved about Emmanuel Stewart, he'd get away with it. He was always professional. Oh my God, look at this. Look at this. He used to go nuts. I miss Emmanuel so much, man. But let's talk about some other hobbies, man.
Yeah.
Music. What kind of music you like?
I'm actually listening to Tina Marie right now. So that kind of lets you know, I'm an R&B dude through and through. Right now it's Tina Marie, Nita Baker. I love jazz. I love New Edition. I was listening to Queen yesterday. I really like some rock music as well. I'm not a big rock head, but I do like Queen and a few other classic rock groups. I really like Elton John. You know what I mean? So I'm literally, man, I'm all over the stratosphere. And if you know me, that's who I am in the ring. I'm very versatile in the ring, and my day to day is very versatile as well. I can go from doing a physical therapy session to doing an interview with you on Zoom. You know what I mean? I'm just all over the place, man. I love it, and the best part about it, man, is I get to be me, and people appreciate me being me. I don't have to put on any different hats and be anyone different other than being Showtime Shawn Porter. And that's the best part about being me.
That's what we love about you, bro. Like I said, blue collared, real. You mentioned jazz. Art Blakey's one of my favorite. Yeah, man. I'm a big, music fan. I play drums, guitar, all that kind of stuff. Art Blakey. I love funk, reggae, hip hop, metal. I listen to everything. Rock. My girl got me into country music. I couldn't believe that was ever going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that about. I heard country music will surprise you, is what I've been told.
It will surprise you because you know what? The lyrics are so real. It's like some dude that goes to work.
Yeah.
And he's beat up when he comes home. He wants to, touch up and make love to the lady, and like it's just like I got to knock out this bill. It's funny, man. And I was like, okay, I could deal with this, but food. What's your favorite type of food?
I was talking to somebody like just yesterday. I said I could eat pizza or lasagna or Chinese food every day. I love breakfast food as well, so I can eat breakfast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner as well. So that's me, babe.
Are you watching any TV shows right now? Any movies that you're into?
This is old, and I own it. But my wife and we just started watching a show on Disney Plus. I was a fan of Once Upon a Time. It was an ABC show. I think they did 7 or 8 seasons, and then they ended that show, and then they came out with Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. So Once Upon a Time, they put all of the different old school stories: Cinderella, Peter Pan, Sleeping Beauty. They put all those different folk tales or children's stories together, and they kind of made it real life. And I mean, it was fantastic. And now I'm watching Wonderland, Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, which is a little bit the same. They've taken Alice in Wonderland, and right now they've put a little bit of Robin Hood along with Aladdin in that one so far. So waiting to see how that one unfolds. I think we're 3 episodes in. Outside of that, I'm more of a movie buff than I am a TV show guy. So a movie I can go check out I used to go to the movies every other week. Now I'm kind of a little bit more sparingly because of everything the world has dealt with, but more of a movie buff, that's for sure.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm all into cinema, and I see you moving around out there. It's hot in Vegas, bro.
Yeah.
Woo!
It's 107 right now, man.
107. Yeah. Yesterday I was outside for like a good couple hours. It was like 115 degrees at one point, brother. Like,
yeah. I was just saying, like, why'd you say it's hot out there in Las Vegas? Like you're not here. You said, man, it's hot out there in Vegas. Like you in LA right now, or back home in Ohio, and you in some cool breeze.
Yeah, you by the water, like Jersey.
You dealing with what I'm dealing with.
Yeah, Jersey.
Yeah, you dealing with what I'm dealing with.
You're by the water, the breeze comes in. It's nice. I mean, when I moved out here, and I didn't realize. I mean, I knew Vegas was hot. So what happened was I had seen on the news it would be 114 degrees. I go to my wife. I'm like, is this real? She's like, yeah. I thought at 103 degrees, you go outside, you just blow up, disintegrate. Done.
Yeah. So what do you do with 115, you know? My first year here, I told my buddy, my first year here, I said, man, this is unreal. I can't be here in the summertime. And my dude said, oh, man, don't worry about it. You get used to it. I looked at him. I said, did you hear what you just said?
No.
He said, yeah, I know. It sounds crazy. Something happened, and I ended up not being able to get out of town for the summer. And I spent the next summer here, and I was like, oh, it's actually not that bad. And then I hear in my head, you get used to it. And now I find myself telling people, well, you get used to it.
I got a couple more boxing related questions. Next fight you're looking forward to that's coming up. There's a couple on the calendar that look good. What are you thinking?
It's quite a few, actually, starting with this weekend. We got Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall getting in the ring against one another on ESPN. The undercard of that fight, of that card, co-main is actually Alicia Baumgartner and Michaela Mayer. So, I mean, we got 2 big championship fights in one night in the female boxing, nonetheless. And I think this weekend is going to take female boxing to another level. And outside of that one, Deontay Wilder, and he's getting back in the ring in October. I'm looking forward to Canelo and Triple G. That's next week.
Yep.
And of course, you can't help but look forward to Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. whenever that fight gets made. I have declined any interviews or questions regarding Spence and Crawford until that fight is officially announced. So I knew you were going to go there today, and I'm going to let you know right now you can go there, but you be going there alone. I'm not Spence and Crawford until the fight gets announced.
I don't blame you at all whatsoever. I've done the same thing on my show. I do have to say, though, this it's the best fight in boxing to be made. It's what the fans want, and we see what we get. Styles make fights, and I think that it would be great for the sport. It'd be great for the sport, you know, as you know, great ambassadors of what they do. They're both great fighters. Nobody loses a fight like that, you know. When the best fight the best, in my opinion, you know, that's the greatest thing that you could, you know, honestly have in this sport. And I like that you talked about the rise of the female boxing becoming even more significant. Like, they've had a great year. And I met Carissa Shields not too long ago, and she's a sweetheart, man. What a darling of a person. You know, she's super sweet.
She calls herself the GWOAT, and she is very much all of that and more. But outside of the boxing ring, you're right. She's a sweetheart. She is very edgy and will not allow anyone to cross her morning, noon, or night. But just on a day-to-day, having to meet a fan, shake his or her hand, and share some time with a fan, she's all of that and more in terms of being a sweetheart, man. You're right. One of the best female fighters out there right now.
Oh, there's no doubt.
And that she calls herself the GWOAT.
There's no doubt. And just a sweetheart. Yeah. And I'm going to get her on the show eventually. I know she's busy, you know, so, you know, the focus on the fight is there.
Yeah.
You know,
I hope you're able to get her. I haven't been able to get her on my podcast, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, tell us about your podcast, Shawn.
The Welterweight Podcast, man. We are live on YouTube. We are on all of the podcasting platforms. And our following is growing daily podcast. And we're this coming into football, so we're definitely we'll be touching on the football season here or there in the course of the football season and every other sport as well. What we've done now is we've started the Patreon. Anyone who wants to subscribe to that, patreon.com/TPWP. And that is where we're going to have exclusive content from the podcast, as well as exclusive content and live shows where we go outside of just boxing, and we'll be talking about movies, and we'll be talking about TV shows, and we'll be talking about rap music, country music, the list goes on. We'll be talking about the NFL and NBA. What we've noticed is people don't really like that content on our podcast, so we try to kind of like do it sparingly. I said, you know what? Let's start our Patreon. We'll do it weekly, and that way we can give people a big taste of what the Welterweight truly is. And a lot, like I said at the beginning of this interview, I'm very versatile. I can do a lot of different things. I'm about a lot of different things, not just boxing, not just sports, and even culture wise. I'm not just about Black culture. I'm all about every culture, and I try to display that in everything that I do. And the Patreon is where we will be 100% all about everything that the Welterweight is all about, not just the boxing that you'll see primarily on the Welterweight podcast.
That's why when I did my bullet points for today, I know you're very versatile, very explosive personality, very electric, and you know, which I could gravitate towards. So I was like, yo, man, like we'll hit the boxing, but I mean, come on, man, 2-time welterweight champ. We all know Shawn Porter. You know, like we
Sure.
don't know about Showtime.
Sure. I tell fighters all the time. An interview shouldn't just be QA, QA, QA. You got to be able to interact with whoever you're doing an interview with and let your personality show and shine. It's the only way to get people interested in who you are outside of the boxing ring. And I said, if we're being honest, fighters, they get 2-3 times a year to display who they are if they're only utilizing what they do in the ring, you know? So I try to get fighters to understand you got to show more outside of the ring, and that starts with the interviews. That's your next opportunity to show someone who you are. You're going to learn everything you need to know about a fighter in the ring, but then if that fighter gives you an opportunity to, you'll be able to see more of who they are based on what they saw in the ring. So again, I'll give you another example. Me being as versatile as I am, you'll see in the ring, Shawn can he's got speed, he's got quickness. And then you'll see an interview, and I'm talking about the rock music that I like to listen to, or the Elton John that I like to listen to, or the Michael Jackson playlist that I have, or the jazz playlist that I have, or the movies that I saw in the last 3 weeks. And it's like, man, this guy, man, he gave me everything that I like in the ring. He gave me all of that in one interview in 30 minutes. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to get these fighters to learn that they got to do more, you know?
It's beautiful. Like, that's what I do on my show. Like, actors, musicians, athletes, NFL players, you know, and I like to keep it, you know, a broad spectrum because I don't want to just make it isolated to one thing, you know. But having someone like you on today, Shawn, like, I mean, I gotta say, dude, like, great time. You know, I caught up with you a couple weeks ago during that game. Man, that was a nail biter. Before we go, that was a nail biter.
I left, man, because I had to get somewhere for the boxing stuff.
Yeah.
And I tell you, man, like, I've never not wanted to leave a situation the way that I didn't want to leave that game. Like, that was a nail biter. It was entertaining. We needed replays during the course of the game. I mean, just everything you want from an NFL game or a college game, you got right there out of a high school game. It was awesome.
I was telling my boy this. I'm like, how is it a high school game? Like, I felt like I was watching, like, college or NFL. Like, it was wild, bro. So, speaking of which, real quick before I let you go, your favorite NFL team? Who do you got?
Man, I gotta say it, man. It's the Cleveland Browns. I'm very hesitant through the climate that the Browns are having to live through right now to say that I'm a Browns fan, but I'm a loyal customer. I am a loyal fan, and I'm still very much so looking forward to Sunday, and I'm looking forward to the Cleveland Browns and what they have to do this year. We'll see what happens.
I used to be a Giants guy, but I gave up on them. I hate to do it. I hate to admit it. But, yeah, I gave up.
What about the Jets?
I'm a Raiders guy now. Because,
yeah,
we got the Raiders out here, you know, Vegas. Allegiant Stadium, by the way, I'm sure you've been there, right?
I have been inside Allegiant Stadium, not during a game, but I've been the stadium. I am looking forward to going to a game this year.
Yeah, same here.
I should end up at one at the least. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful stadium. But you know what, man? I'll let you get to your day. I appreciate your time. Let's stay in touch. Of course, I'll be posting the show on everything: iHeart, Spotify, YouTube, Google, Amazon, everywhere things are done, you know, within the next hour. Showtime, I got to tell you, man, mad respect. My father, who's no longer with us, discovered you. Yeah, man. Discovered you when you were coming up. And he's like, you got to see this boy here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. You know, but been following you the whole way. Much love and respect, bro. To you and yours.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the interview today. I'll make sure next time we do this, man, aesthetically, it'll look much better, man. I'm on the move today. I'm sorry.
No worries, man. It's no worries. Most people listen to this stuff on like the audio stuff anyway. So it's all good, man.
We'll talk soon, all right?
All right, my man. Have a great one. You and yours.
Okay. All right, cool.
All
Well,
right.
hey, if I don't make you look bad, then I look good. How about that?
You did great, bro. Thank you, man. Thanks.